Hello again, everybody. Welcome back. Another episode here this evening of Banish the Doubt. In this episode, what I want to talk about is simply our concept of ourself. This one thing, if we can understand and master this one thing, everything that we want in this world is ours. Whatever it is you want, be it money, health, relationships, whatever it may be, career, whatever it may be. So you see over my head here, over my shoulder, there's a quote. It's from the Master Key System, the book, The Master Key System. And it says here, the germ of defeat is contained within every selfish thought. And I have here the sun, which is being clouded over, if you will, by almost like an eclipse. And the sun represents our higher self or source energy. The red lines, the clouding over, represents our ego or our false self. So it's the false self, this ego, that clouds over or eclipses this source energy within us, the true essence of who we are the concept or the pureness in the concept that we have of ourselves from shining through. Because you'll see here I have words, thoughts, emotions, and finances. Those are the four areas within our life, okay, that are the most critical. These are the areas where we develop habits in these four areas within our life. Okay, we develop these habits. And recent studies have shown that 90% of people, 90% struggle in at least one of those four areas and to develop these poor habits. And what that leads to are codependent relationships, broken marriages, or marriages that are broken, but they're still, existing or intact. Unfulfilled potential. Okay, so if you are struggling in these areas, the full potential of you is not coming out. You're not being able to live the life that you want to live, and poor health. So earlier today, I was at lunch, and a table across from me, there was some ladies there, and they were celebrating a friend's birthday, and the friend was turning 60. There was not many people at all in the restaurant. You could hear them talking. But here's the thing. As each lady showed up for the birthday lunch, each one talked about somebody who's poor health, a husband or what have you. How is so and so? Oh, he or she's recovering, what poor health. And I noticed, I said, boy, they're only turning 60 and they're already talking about poor health, because it's in my assumption that the majority of their life was clouded over by the ego. This ego, this false self of ours clouds over the potential that we have within ourselves. So what we're led to believe is the way we go about our world or our life is that we go after finances. We have to get a certain amount of money, a certain amount of prestige, to have a certain lifestyle. But yet, the majority of the people you see in these lifestyles are not happy because they're chasing after the wrong thing. The thing we want to chase after, or the thing we want to really get a grip on, is this concept of ourself, the wisdom to understand who we truly are beyond this, on the other side of this illusion of the false self, the ego. You see, I believe the majority of us, the 90% of us that struggle within these areas, is because how we come into this world. Okay? We come into this world for 500 years now. For 500 years, the Jesuit faith has been teaching, more than 500 years now, actually, their followers, that simply put, anybody, you give them a child from age 0 to age 7, and I will give you the man or the woman. Why? It's because in this stage of our life, okay, this here, we are unconscious. Our conscious mind had not been developed yet. From 7 until 12, we are in soft consciousness or low consciousness. And then from 12 on, we are in beta consciousness, which is I'm in now, that you are in now, watching this. We're in beta consciousness, but it starts at age 12. From 7 to 12, our consciousness is slow, kind of like when we're sitting around watching TV and we're getting tired. We're not really going into a unconscious state or a theta state. This is called theta. This is called alpha. Okay, so these are the states, the brainwave states. We go from beta back to alpha when we're kind of just vegging out, getting ready to go to bed. Alpha back to theta when we're not completely conscious, but we're not completely asleep yet. And back here is delta consciousness, which is when we're sound asleep. Okay? We go here. But for purposes of this illustration, this video tonight, what science has found that in third trimester is when mom, through her umbilical cord, is transferring this energy to us as a fetus. This energy here, the words, the thoughts, the emotions, and how the finances being transferred, all that is being transferred to the fetus, us. Okay? We're in delta brainwave. Brainwaves really haven't developed yet. But that energy, okay, this energy, that transference of energy is going down into the fetus. And then when we're born, we're at 0, which is what the Jesuit faith has been teaching. At 0, we are now in delta consciousness from 0 to 2. Then we go from 2, at age 2, we're in theta consciousness. Our consciousness is not developed yet. Okay, we are in a sub-conscious state of mind, the brain waves. So what this does here, this here sets up our, like this computer, our operating system. Our operating system is set up here. So how mom and dad, if dad was even around, okay, what was the family life like? Family life like? What were the words that were used about finances? What were the emotions like? What was the emotional reaction to any type of stress? What were the thoughts? that mom had that was being transferred down, and then the relationship between mom and dad. You see it if you're watching this here in the United States this past weekend, just yesterday, on college campuses, several college campuses throughout the country yesterday was rivalry week for football. And I believe about 4 or 5 of the games ended in massive brawls between the opposing teams because the one team that won the game wanted to take their flag and plant it in the middle of the football field, the ego of the opposing team, of the home team. Of course, the home team went and prevented or wanted to prevent that. So you had all these people, all these young, very young football players. Can you imagine with a college football player, the size of a college football player, you have both teams engaged in a massive brawl in the middle of a football field, coaches, what have you. In one of the games, the cops, the university cops, had to use pepper spray to stop the players from engaging in this all-out brawl. One of the reporters I heard, one of the local reporters or whatever it was her eyes had to be flushed out because she got hit by the pepper spray. But you see, so this is all that the ego, the false self, the emotions, the thoughts, the words, all of that. This is the concept of the self, the competition, the separation. I'm separate from you. I must defeat and destroy you. In the case of the winning team in several of these universities, we must not just win the game, but embarrass the opposition. See, it's like animalistic type of culture. But this is where 90% of people struggle. Now, again, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, it's not about money. It's not about fame. It's not about fortune, about any of that. It's about this concept of ourself. It's about how we can reach out and help others. We can help other people, lift other people up. What I do, my concept of myself, the stronger or not the stronger, but the more in tune I get with this concept of myself and understand that this concept of self is outpictured in every moment of my life, in my reality, the people in my reality, the places, the events that take place, the situations that arise, all come from this concept of the self that is set up here when we are just infants. And we move in from age 7 to age 12. What are the conversations? What are the conversations towards us as children? What is the foundational emotional structure of the child at this stage in their life? And then 12 and beyond. So imagine taking the 12-year-old boys specifically and having them watch these football games. And if dad is a fan of one of the teams, I just be curious to see what the conversation would be like between father and son after witnessing that. And I would hope that the majority of the conversation were, there's no place for that in any sport, at any time in society, at any time. I'm thankful, I believe one of the coaches, just one, came out of that unfortunate situation, that disgusting situation, and said, this is not who we are. I'm embarrassed. I watched one of the other coaches and their reaction was a bit, just abominable. He was like throwing fuel onto the fire. There was no self-reflection. There was no self-reflection at all, taking no responsibility whatsoever for it. However, but this is where our society is today. So then how do we change, you and I? We change by recognizing it's our concept of ourself, the wisdom to understand, to transcend this. Not talking about the football games, but transcend this here. Understanding that These four critical areas of our life: our words we use, our thoughts we have, the emotions, and our finances, how we handle all those. That develops our concept of ourself. If the words we use about ourself or about life are disempowering, then the thoughts that we have are going to be disempowering. And then the emotions that stem from the words, that stem from the thoughts, are going to lead to more of this disempowering conversations with the world. But the world is nothing more than a reflection of your thoughts, of your words that you use. How you handle your finances. Are you holding everything close because you're afraid to lose the money? Or are you more open and relaxed with it? The relationship, if you look at your bank account, that is a perfect reflection of your relationship with finances. But the untold part of this story is the finances increase when our self-concept increases, and when our self-concept is one of gratitude, of appreciation, of understanding that every person that we see in this world, 90% of them, or probably more than that, are asleep. They're lost in the sauce, as I say, with this ego covering over or eclipsing the source, this who we are at our core. The average person is operating from this ego-based false self, not understanding or even knowing or understanding that contained within us is this source energy, this Christ consciousness. I want to read you a passage from the book At Your Command by Neville Goddard. I talked about this in the last video that I made that I want to talk about now that we're in the holiday season, talking about Mary, the Mother Mary, as we're led to believe, Mother Mary or the Virgin Mary. And Neville talks about here, he says, "You are told, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all things shall be added unto you. Get first the consciousness of the things that you are seeking and leave the things alone." So get the consciousness, the self-concept of yourself, and leave the things. So whatever desires we have, we understand it. We get this concept of ourself, this wisdom. We leave the rest alone. We just leave it. Health, relationships, career, wealth, money, whatever it may be. Okay? This is what is meant by ye shall decree a thing and it shall come to pass. So we just get this consciousness. Now listen here. Apply this principle and you will know what it is to prove me and see. The story of Mary is the story of every person. Mary was not a woman giving birth in some miraculous way to one called Jesus. Mary is the awareness of being that ever remains virgin, no matter how many desires it gives birth to. Right now, look upon yourself as this Virgin Mary, being impregnated by yourself through the medium of desire, becoming one with your desire to the point of embodying or giving birth to your desire. For instance, it is said of Mary, whom you now know to be yourself, that she knows not a man, yet she conceived. That is you, John Smith, have no reason to believe that that which you now desire is possible. You have no reason to believe that what you now have desire for is possible. But having discovered your awareness of being to be God, you make this awareness your husband and conceive a man-child, the manifestation of the Lord. Now this is a quote, "For thy maker is thine husband, the Lord of hosts is his name, the Lord of God of the whole earth shall he be called." Your ideal or ambition is this conception. The first command to her, which is now to yourself, is go tell no person. So don't tell anybody about your desires. That is, do not discuss your ambitions or desires with another. Listen here, for the other will only echo your present fears. Secrecy is the first law to be observed in realizing your desire. So the other will echo your fears, echo your words, thoughts, emotions, and finances if we are struggling in any one or multiple areas or all these areas in our life. Because remember, your reality and all the persons in it are nothing but who you have attracted to you. So we find a desire, the concept of ourself, of this person that we are going to become, and we let go of whatever desires is we have, trusting that we change the concept of ourself, and all of this will change. We remove, little by little, we remove the eclipsing of our higher self, of the source energy, of God, of Christ consciousness, to allow it to come into our life. We let go of whatever the conditioning was, the programming was, the operating system that we have been operating from. We let go of that, and then we return and we walk in faith and trusting that this new concept of ourself is the concept that will carry us to those areas in our life. It's by service, though. Always remember, look at another. How may I help that other person to become a better person, to change the concept, whatever it may be? How may I be of service to that person? When you see somebody on the street, maybe looking for something this at any time, but now, of course, in the holiday season, anytime you even spare a quarter or a dollar or just a smile, whatever it may be to help that person, to bring some light into that person's life, in their reality in that moment. Understand this. The the um the chemicals within your body, the serotonin levels within your body will rise just by that act of kindness. The serotonin level within that person receiving this act of kindness will rise. But here's the key. This is the part that nobody understands. And I didn't know this until a few months ago. Anybody within the energy field witnessing that act of kindness have their serotonin levels risen just by observing that act of kindness. You do this, you change this, you work on this every single day for the rest of your life, and whatever it is you desire is nothing more, is all but guaranteed to happen within your life. It is a law within the universe. It was mentioned here in the book, At Your Command. You do this, and everything that you are wanting, all the desires in your life from this point forward, are but guaranteed to happen. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.